Hey, I'm Karen, and this is my YouTube channel that coincides with my blog, expectedmiraclesblog.com. Today, I'm going to review Tom Hanks's book, Uncommon Type. It's a book of short stories that he recently released, and I got this in my Book of the Month subscription box in November. And I decided to read it this month as part of my reading challenge for the Goodreads 2018 Reading Challenge. Okay, first off, I will say I really like Tom Hanks as an actor. He's great, one of the best out there. And with this book, I found out he can write too. So that was a plus. What I will also tell you is how hard it was for me to get through this book. I am not a lover of short stories. Never have been. I can't write them. For me, they're just too brief to get everything that I want to come across. And I kind of had that same issue reading this. I don't feel like I get enough character development. I don't feel like I get a resolution at times, and I like resolutions. So there were many times where I just got frustrated reading this because I didn't have those things that I craved and that I like as a writer myself. I usually read this most right before bed, and I would finish a story and have to start a new one, yet my mind was still in that story that I just read. So it was really hard for my brain to transition to a new story with new characters, a new voice. I had to really separate the two, and sometimes that was really frustrating for me just because that switch so fast happened and I wasn't really ready for it. I wanted more of the other story. This book has 18 stories in it, and I have to say I found most of them to be very bland. Maybe that's because, again, I don't care for short stories. I don't get that character development. I don't get that resolution or the detail that I want for, longer novels, but I just didn't connect with any of the characters. I didn't care for any of the stories. I just thought they were kind of boring. I think maybe 2 or 3 stand out in my mind, and that's unfortunate because I was kind of hoping for a lot more. One story that stood out to me was called Who's Who, and that follows a young girl in New York City trying to make it in the acting world. And she's running out of time and running out of money to do so before she has to move home and basically considers herself a failure. She happens upon somebody she knows actually in the business, and he kind of helps her along, and, it kind of resolves that, through his help, she does become an actress on Broadway and makes it. I thought that story was lighthearted. It had that resolution that I'm always looking for. I liked the characters, and it was full of hope. The second story that stood out is called These Are the Meditations of My Heart, and this follows a young woman who finds a typewriter and kind of goes into a store to have it fixed and realizes that that's not possible. And through this really short experience that she has in the shop, she finds a love of typewriters and what they can do, and she ends up getting one of them at the store. So she has a new typewriter, and she goes home, and she sits down, and she just starts writing, plunking out little things, big things. I like this story because as a writer myself, I kind of saw a writer blossom in this story. She didn't really have anything to write about, but she took this contraption home. She just started typing away, and sometimes that's the hardest thing to do as a writer. If you have no ideas, the blank page is intimidating. So those were the 2 stories that kind of struck a chord with me and that I fully enjoyed. Unfortunately, those were the only 2 that kind of stand out. So I don't really have many good things to say about this book. I was hoping for a little bit more. But one theme that continues through the book is typewriters. And if you kind of know a little bit about Tom Hanks recently, he has a typewriter collection. He's obsessed with the things. He knows all about them, and that definitely shone through this book. Typewriters made appearances throughout the whole thing in different stories, and you could tell there was a knowledge there and a love there for these things. After reading some reviews, I found that certain people didn't like the fact that typewriters were used so much. They thought it was kind of uppity and kind of cocky, but I didn't mind it too much. I didn't think it was a big deal. So when I reviewed this on Goodreads, I only gave it 2 stars just because I did find it boring, It was really hard to get through, and I actually debated not even finishing it. I think even one story, I scanned through it just because I was just ready to get it done and over with. And I don't like not finishing books, so I knew I had to get through it, no matter how long it took. So unfortunately, this was kind of a miss for me. But if you like short stories, make sure to pick it up because you'll probably enjoy it. So that's all from me for now. I hope you liked this video, and there will be more to come as I read more books. In the meantime, make sure to follow my blog at expectedmiraclesblog.com, and I'm also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thanks for watching.